YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to be discussing what I got done to end off 2022. So it has been a while, guys, since I've, been on YouTube, but it's been a lot going on at the same time as well. So glad I could be here back to discuss what I got done. So if you don't already know by the title, I got what's called a Brazilian butt lift. Yes, guys, I got a BBL. So let's break it down. Let's discuss what made me get a BBL. So essentially, I had ever since literally 10th grade, sophomore year in high school, I have had what's called not a serious medical condition, but I've just had a lot of buildup of fat in my abdominal region. So it's been pretty annoying to deal with that, and just seeing that the fat cells are not going anywhere. At 27, I'm like, what do I still have this for? What the hell, and I've been trying so many methods. I've tried freezing my fat. I've tried cool sculpting, which is a waste of your money. I spent $3,900 and I still look like a pregnant lady at the end of it. Because they'd say, wait 6 to 7 months to see results, because that is true. It takes a while for fat cells to be eliminated out of your body, because it's done through the lymphatic system, as we know. I've explained this in previous videos as well. So with that being said, I just still had what's called stubborn fat. So stubborn fat is something to where you can exercise, you can do your diet, you can do cool sculpting, you can do all these preventative measures and watch your diet and things like that, and try all these treatments, and the fat still will not go. That is what we call stubborn fat. So I had a lot of that in my abdominal region. It affected photos, it affected my confidence in looking good. And just since 10th grade, literally I had a girl asked me, are you pregnant? And I'm like, what kind of question is that at 15 years old? I hope I'm not, but it was just, not even that alone. It was just it took away from what my personality was. It took away from my identity, essentially. So I decided, after doing my research, I wanted to get the BBL. I had the money, which is important. Not only did I have the money, but I was willing to do what was required in order to qualify for a BBL, because not all candidates qualify for cosmetic procedures. So I think everyone knows that that's a no-brainer. There are certain tests and things that have to be done. They don't like to work on too obese patients, obese patients a lot, and other measures as well. So I had to, I spoke with, the representative, and she's like, yeah, you have to start being healthy, eating healthy food, lots of veggies, start increasing your iron. So foods that increase your folate, start taking that, because in order to qualify for a BBL, you have to make sure your hemoglobin is good. Your levels have to be intact as well for that. So they check all of that, and I was like, okay, let me start now. Let me see if I can pull this off by the end of the year. And thankfully I did. I was scared. I did not want to come on here and tell you guys. I didn't even know if I was going to make it through the surgery, but all went well. So I am so glad about that. So yeah, we're going to dive into, where did I go for surgery? What kind of BBL did I get? And how much did this cost overall? That's a very, very important fact, because I was astonished when I thought, okay, I'm only paying this special promotion you guys are saying for Christmas of $3,900. And versus when I got there was just so many add-ons that you needed. So it was not technically $4,000, a little over that. So we're going to dive into that, and we're going to dive into the crazy parts of the surgery. So the aftermath, the recovery phase. That is what's a kicker for you guys. I know you guys are going to enjoy that part, but yeah, we're going to get into it. We're going to be bold. I'm going to show you guys my before and after. I'm going to show you guys how I look now, and I'm going to show you guys, or just tell you guys what is required to receive the full benefit and look of a BBL, because that's important. Things to do, things to not do. When can you finally sit down? And if it's worth it, it's one thing to spend thousands on cosmetic surgery, but if it's just something that's not worth it, and you realize at the end 3 months post-op, like this was just a waste of money, that's something that needs to be expressed. And I don't think a lot of people get on social media to talk about that. They just discuss the benefits of a BBL and, ooh, I have a bigger ass. But I want to be the one to tell you guys about that and tell you pros and cons.
So guys, these are the lab results.
A little hiccup at the beginning because I didn't know that you needed someone to be there with you when you're discharged from the hospital or the surgery center. You can't leave surgery alone and go to your hotel. That's, they don't want to be liable for that. So just for security purposes, they do require that you have an acquaintance with you, your mom, boyfriend, or they have what's called recovery homes. They have, licensed nurses and people that, operate, recovery homes for people that just got out of surgery. So I chose that last minute because I'm like, I really don't have anyone that's going to fly down with me to Florida. So I just chose that recovery home. And that was literally the only bad part about the surgery, literally. And we'll get into that. But yes, so it was there, and it was easy. I first came in, I landed in Miami the same day, went for my labs. They got my blood levels. My blood level was literally a 10.4. What they're really concerned about is your hemoglobin and, your hemoglobin levels, your hematocrit. The reason they check for that is because they want to know how you're going to heal, essentially. Your blood is going to be the primary factor and determinant in telling them, okay, is she a good candidate for surgery and how will she be, after surgery? Because anything that's going to cause a potential risk to you or harm, the surgeon will say you're too much of a risk and we cannot operate on you. So mine's actually came back as a 10.4. I'm not sure if I got the results, but yeah, I'm going to show you guys the results. I'll upload it here so you guys can see it, or just the form or whatever. So I went to the labs. After that, I went to the surgery center, gave them the form. And after that, I think they put me in a room. They did my vitals just to see. They actually do the EKG because if you have any cardiac issues, guys, that as well is a deterrent. They will not perform surgery on you if you have like a pacemaker, an AV fistula, something like that. Too risky. So those are just things you have to consider when you're getting a BBL. Surgeons are very, very particular because they don't want a lawsuit. They don't want to do something wrong and then you file this $1 million lawsuit against them. No, so not having it. So there are certain elements and things you have to actually get a checkup on before you can just sit back and, get your transfer. So yes. So yeah, that's basically it. Everything checked out for me. The surgeon was fine with everything. He spoke with me about it. Literally, I think I did a $2,000 deposit. And then after that, I paid them cash. Now, in terms of what I paid, it was a little bit over what they said the special rate was. Because, for instance, your foam pads, you have to have 2 foam pads after surgery, your compression garment, as well as your faja. So each one of those items was like $50, I would say, except for this was like $15. So that added a fee of that. And then for me, because I had a low hemoglobin, you have to literally be 11 and above. And I know why I was a 10.4 because I did drink my liquid iron, my ferritin, but it was so cold in New Jersey, literally the day before my surgery, that my hemoglobin went down. So because it was so cold, I knew like, man, this is really going to affect my blood levels. And how it works with your blood levels, it doesn't change overnight. So if you're like a 10.2 on a Saturday and your surgery is on Sunday, it's going to carry on literally on your surgery day, because on your surgery day, you cannot eat, you cannot drink anything 4 hours before your surgery, or the whole day before surgery commences. They just can't have that because, of course, you're going to have the contents of your body out in surgery, or your food. that you eat, and they just don't want that to be confusing for them. So they just say no liquids, no nothing. So I knew my hemoglobin was not going to change overnight. I knew that. But I wasn't worried about it because I knew I had to. They have an option that's called this blood saver, the cell saver. Yes. Cell saver is basically like a blood transfusion. So when you're under your surgery, if your hemoglobin level is still too low, they will administer that. And what it is basically just putting fresh new blood back into you whenever they're doing the surgery. So obviously when you're getting surgery, they're making incisions, they're cutting into your body. You're going to be losing blood. So blood is going to be coming out of you. What the cell saver does, it basically reinfuses that back into you, but it's fresh blood, and you're just, that way your hemoglobin and everything is intact and there's no source of complications. So it was good that I had that. I was excited. I was just so glad they had that option. And I wasn't mad about paying the $500 because I was like, okay, if this is, I didn't expect my hemoglobin to drop either. But I knew that because I worked so hard, I was taking iron, I was doing so much just to make sure my levels were good. But of course, living in eastern side of America, north side actually, we're right next to Canada. It's always so cold and snowing in New York. So of course, my blood levels were going to drop, and I don't know, but that's beyond the point. But yeah, that's what got it to $500. So in total, I spent right about $4,500. Now, that's just for the surgery alone. Now, if we do add in accommodation and lodging and things like that, that was $200 a night. I only stayed in Miami 3 nights. They do require that you stay at least 3 to 5 nights after surgery just to make sure you're good. But I literally, I couldn't do that in the circumstances I was in at the recovery home. It was just too toxic for me, and it was increasing my level of irritation when I was in that recovery home. So I was like, I know this is a lot of money per night, and I know what I got to do, but I literally just, it was the worst. But we'll get into the juicy part. Just want to let you guys know exactly what I had to pay for. So foams, some surgery centers would include this into your rate, your package deal. Some will not, so unfortunately mine's didn't. And of course, this is my new faja that I'm using. It actually helps me out. I'm still wearing it. I'm actually 3 months post-op because I got mine's done on December 27th. So you still have to wear it for at least 6 months. So I actually got out and got a new one. It's not a faja, but it's just, a compression to compress the abdominal region that I got surgery on. So that was basically what I paid for in essence. So $4,500, quite some change. I did not anticipate for that at all. So yeah, after that, it was really cool. The people there were very nice. A little disorganized because I didn't know what room I should have been in for the consultation, what was happening. So, but yeah, Miami people are very cool and essentially easy to talk to. So I didn't have too much issues, but yeah, nothing bad really happened at the plastic surgery center itself. I was fine with that. So yeah, 2 to 3, they took me into the consultation room. She took pictures of my before and after, paid her in full. They said, we don't want any credit card payments. We have to have the cash that same day. So I paid them full in cash, got it done with. They put me in the room. They have you remove all of your clothes. The surgeon, does his, markings on me and everything like that, with the marker. And yeah, I just told him what I kind of expected, what I wanted. And he did a decent job. It wasn't too bad. I feel like he could have done a little bit better in terms of sculpting my abdomen because I still look like I have a little bit more fat there, but I think it's just fluid because I wasn't getting my massages. But yeah, he did a really good job. So guys, this is where the juicy details come in. This is where the juicy details come into place. So I go into the surgery center, and guys, I was so scared. I was like, why are they put me on the bed. They actually strapped my arms down on the actual surgery bed. I'm like, why are they doing this to me? Like, literally, like, I felt so weird because they were gonna put anesthesia anyway. Like, I'm not going anywhere. But they strapped me down to the bed with my arms. I'm literally standing in my little medical roby thing, lying down there. And then I was telling him, like, I want to be up for the fun part. That was the last thing I remember saying before the anesthesia hit me so quick. I I blacked out. I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, what the hell? Like, literally, I didn't wake up. The next time I woke up again was after surgery. And I was like, I was in the back center or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, they must be done. So it was so crazy, guys. It was like a switch, like on off. So yeah, surgery literally for a BBL, it takes 2 to 3 hours. No, 4 hours. 3 to 4 hours actually. There's a lot that goes into it, because it is a fat transfer procedure. So after they do remove all the fat from your abdomen or your selected region, they now have to do a second procedure, which is going to your glutes. So they're transferring the fat to your hips and your buttocks. So that's exactly what I got. And I didn't even know what was 4 hours or what was not. All I know is when I woke up, I didn't feel pain. I was just a little stiff. It was hard for me to kind of cough or anything like that. Yeah, it kind of gave me it was a little weird, but, and this is where the issue came about. So they finished surgery at 7. I think I started right at 3 o'clock, 3:30. So afterwards, this is why I would definitely recommend it. Girls, if you're going out there for surgery in Miami, do not go alone like I did. I am a risk taker. I am crazy at heart. I like taking dares. I like being, exotic and crazy like that. So I would do crazy things like that and just, because I don't care. I feel like you only live once, so never wait or have someone stomp on your shine or tell you can't do this. And that's just the kind of person I've always been ever since a little girl. I am so bold and out there, and I will go get whatever I want, But of course, this is the reason I say you need to have somebody with you, is because it's just, you can't trust a stranger with your life. You can't do it. This is someone that doesn't know you from Adam and Eve. This is someone that is there to just make money, and normally, as we know it, if anything you're getting paid to do, you're really not enjoying it. You're doing it. The primary purpose of doing that is because you're getting a monetary value out of that. It's not because you love this job so anything you have to pay someone to do, they're really just not going to put their full effort into it or care, honestly. So that's the moral of this story, is just whenever you're going for surgery, make sure that you have someone there that's a family member or a friend or someone you can trust. It's so dangerous to go, and like I said, I know what I did was crazy as hell and risky, but that's the kind of person I am, and like I said, there was no issues with the nurses. There was no issues with surgeons or doctors. The whole center was really good. It was when it came down to me going to the recovery home, because like I said, I didn't have anyone there. I didn't know anyone. You can't just think quick and say, okay, let me call this. No, you have to really do your research. And that's where I failed at. I didn't do as much research for finding a recovery home, a solid, good recovery home. So that was scary in itself, because it's like, I'm literally, I don't even know this person I'm talking to on the phone. I've never seen her before. I don't know. I know her name, but I don't know anything about her. So this is like a person I'm seeing for the first time. It's freaky. It's crazy. So, yeah, so let's get into the issue. So I finished my surgery at 7 o'clock. The nurse that was just, on standby, looking at me, making sure I was okay. I was breathing in, drinking water. Said to me, okay, hey, I called your nurse, from the recovery home to see when she was going to be here, to pick you up because we close at a certain time. We only have 2 more patients left here. So I called her and she didn't respond. I think that's what she said. She didn't respond, or either she doesn't know when she's going to pick me up. So I was like, okay, you said you called her 30 minutes ago. I woke up, I came to at 7:30. Like literally, I'm trying to just get acclimated to what I'm seeing because I'm coming out of anesthesia, right? If you know anesthesia, if you've been through surgery, it's a hard hitting drug. Some people get addicted to, those kind of drugs, but I was just waking. I was like in a sense of euphoria, like, okay, this is what's going on. All right. So she's like, okay, I'm letting you know she's not here. The person that's supposed to pick you up isn't here. So do you want to go and call or, and I'm like, okay. I picked up my phone, put her on speaker, and the girl was like, oh, this, that, because the nurse was like, I called her and she didn't answer. She didn't tell me when she's going to be here. So I now had the girl, her name was, so on the phone. And she was like, okay, yes. I have to find someone to get you to come and pick you up. My car is not suitable for patients that just got out of surgery. So let me find someone to come and pick you up. But it will be another 30 to 45 minutes. And the nurse, she was Spanish. She was like, oh no, definitely not. You're going to have to find a new recovery home. And the thing that I'm like, I can't find it, because she's like, I cannot wait 30 to 40 minutes, when I know I called this girl literally hours ago. And then the girl on the phone that was supposed to pick me up is like, she didn't call me. She didn't know. And she was African American. So she was like, no, this girl is lying. She didn't call my phone at all. No, I don't believe it. And I'm like, I am here in pain. Like, I'm in pain right now. I can hardly even move or feel my extremities because I just got out of surgery. Like, I cannot hear this bickering and back and forth. It's too much on my nerves. I'm just trying to get out of here. So I was telling her, she said she called you, and not even for the fact she called her, I told her, this is the time that you need to be here to pick me up. 7:30. Be waiting outside. Come on, be professional. And she's like, I don't know, I don't have the car for this type of surgery. My car's not equipped. I have to find someone to go out there. So this was a really, really dangerous move because I don't know who I'm getting in the car with. I don't know this person from Adam and Eve. They could kidnap me. They can, probably think that, I'm going to go pick up someone that just had surgery. She has a lot of money. I'm going to rob her, So all these things ran through my mind. Like, what if one of these things happen, and I end up losing my life because I want to get a BBL, or because I want to get rid of my stubborn fat. What if one of these things happened to me? Like, what will my family say? Well, literally, I'll have nothing to live for. So I was scared, and I was just like, the nurse didn't care who was coming there. She was just like, when are they going to come here? Because we have to close our center. This is a surgery center. You can't live here all night, So I was just like, oh my God. Like, please. I was pleading with the nurse. I was like, just wait 30 to 40 minutes. As you can see, I was in deep coma for 3 hours after surgery. So I'm not the victim here. Or I'm not the, person to blame. But, yeah, that's where the issues just started. So thankfully, that part was okay. There was a nice, lovely lady with an SUV, a big Cadillac. They put me in the wheelchair. It was so hard to like move, but I'm like, okay, I gotta come on, because this is not where, I need to be. Surgery's done. We gotta go. So they wheeled me off into the SUV. On the SUV, I just wanted to sleep. But the thing is that with surgery, there's a balance. So you want to sleep, but then you're in so much pain that you just can't. So that's why they prescribe 2 medications for you to take. They first prescribe your antibiotics that you have to take. And that's just to make sure you don't get any bodily infections. Of course, with surgery, there's an actual foreign material going into you in and out in the whole procedure. So that alone can be prone for infections and bacteria to grow on you. So they make sure you take your antibiotics. And the second thing they do prescribe is like a narcotic, like I forgot the name of it. They prescribe that. I don't know if it's oxycodone. No. Oh, it's Percocet. Yes. They prescribe you Percocet, which basically is like a numbing agent in a pill format. So it helps to relieve pain, or just stops the, neurotransmitters from going through your body, so you don't feel the pain and you're fine for the moment. And like I said, I'm a nurse already, so I just didn't want to take Percocet. I didn't want to do that to myself, because I wasn't concerned about the pain. It was just more so the stiffer movements, and the pain was something I can bear with. I've experienced worse pain in my life, but that was just trying, I don't know, it was like movement pain, it wasn't a sharp pain. It was more so just like a visceral pain, okay, I probably have just some parts that are paining me, because obviously my body I just had surgery. So
So guys, these are the text messages to where she's literally going off and kicking me out.
I was fine with my Advil. I took that. So yes, those are the 2 medications they will prescribe to you. So yes, she drove me all the way to her condo. She had a really nice condo. I'm not gonna lie about that. It was really nice. I didn't want to take videos of someone's home, so I didn't do that, because I don't know if she has cameras in there, but I was just, respecting her boundaries. But yeah, beautiful beach view. I loved it. I love the beach view. And yeah, so it was, when I got in, I came in at 12 o'clock. So, or 12 o'clock. So literally after I got out, I had to just start walking on my own. I met the girl. She told me her name is that. I'm like, okay, you're the nurse. Beautiful, great. Where am I going to? She's like, before you just get on, you have to pay $150 because we have to pay the driver. And I'm like, okay, I thought you pay the driver. I thought that's what you're coordinating here. And she's like, it's actually not, transportation's not part of your service, for the $200 a night. So that's a separate charge. And guys, this is literally 3 hours post-op. I just got off the surgery table, and she's telling me, yeah, you need, just telling me just at the spur of the moment, yeah, pay $150. I need $150 now before you can even enter my condo, or before you can, and I'm like, what the hell? You didn't even text that to me. You didn't communicate that to me. And she's like, come on, and it was the most disorganized thing in my life. And the thing is that I didn't even get a chance to think about my pain, think about how I'm feeling right now. I didn't get to do that. So I was pissed off about that, but I said, okay, let me move my hand, because I can barely move here. Let me try to move my hand into my wallet, get the money, paid her. And she said, okay, first step's complete. So we now went up to her condo, and it was nice. It was a nice looking condo. She's like, this is your room. Now, the great part about this condo, I really loved it. This was the icing on the top, or the, nice part of all the negatives. She did have a really good ample amount of, nutrients and drinks and snacks that I needed to fully recover. So I really appreciated that. She had, they make you drink like Gatorade. You have to do that, drink Powerade. And she had a lot of that. She didn't have to run out and say, oops, drinks are done. Let me go ahead and, or do you have some money for that? Like, you have to pay out of pocket costs for these drinks or for more drinks, So I was like, wow. Another thing is that, she had to pick up the medications. She did a good job at that, which were like $30, I think. Yeah. So you have to pay for your medications. So it wasn't too bad of a deal, but it was just like, if you've never gotten surgery before, like me, I had never had in surgery at that time, and it just wouldn't be the right phase. Like, some people would freak out and be like, oh my God, I'm going to die, or have a panic attack. But I was just calm through the moment, because I know if I freak out and start arguing, this is just going to go haywire. And it kind of did throughout the end of the trip, or the end of the visit. So yeah, first night I stayed in. She had good drinks. She fed me. I didn't like the food she cooked. I didn't like the oatmeal. I'm not going to lie to you. I told her, please just don't cook. Just get me food from outside, like Chick-fil-A or something like that. Because I don't know about you guys, but ever since I've been like 5 years old, my parents have said, do not eat any food at anyone's house. Don't do it to yourself. So ever since then, I've just never been comfortable having a full course meal at someone's house. Like, it freaks me out. And I'm 27. I know that was like so long ago, but just ever since, I come from a place where people die every day from poisoning or little things like that. So I was just like, okay, this is a stranger. I still have to know. This is not someone I know. This is not my sister. This is not my mom. I can't fully trust you making my food, Plus, if you think about like all the things that had happened way prior to that, her not picking me up on time, her not even having the vehicle, her asking me for money to pay for the driver, like, I don't know if she might just be angry and say, let me do something to her. And, I don't know. So I told her, just get me some food outside. I don't think I'm going to be eating the food you cook. So please don't cook any food for me. So I think she had a little attitude. She had an attitude the next day. So yes, the next day, let me discuss that. So the next day I had to go for my post-op massages. I was so angry. I was so tired. And I couldn't even get up. I had to sleep on my stomach because I can't lay on my butt because I just had fat transfer there. So I was just not okay. I was pissed off. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to even get up and walk anywhere. I can hardly walk. Like, I'm taking one foot at a time because it's just so hard to like move the lower extremity because they did my hips. My hips were stiff and they also did my buttocks. So it was like, So yeah, she was cool. She picked up my medications and I think I got pissed off at her, because I think, my post-op day to go to the surgery was the next day. So I came home at 12, drank my vitamin C. I only had 6-8 hours of sleep. So I was tired. I was just out of this world. I was like, not even okay, so I think she came in and she was like, okay, do you want breakfast? Do you want this? Do you want that? And I don't even know what I had. I think I just had snacks. But I was like, yeah, if you can get me Chick-fil-A, that'll be fine. And I think she left. She didn't get Chick-fil-A or something like that. I really don't know what happened. But yeah, I didn't have Chick-fil-A that day. Because like I told you, she had an attitude from the night prior. Because I told her I'm not eating any food you're making me. Or no, I'm sorry. Scratch that. She woke up that morning. She made me oatmeal. And she was like, hey, breakfast's ready. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 I don't eat that. I'm sorry. I don't, and I think I told her that the previous night, like, I don't want any cooked foods. And she then sent me a text message and said, send me a text of the foods you do eat and the foods you just don't want to eat. And I put in a text, I said, okay, just no cooked meals at this time. I don't want to eat a cooked meal. Just get me tea, fast food, food from outside. And so that was it. But then I told her I have my post-op appointment at 1:00. So, be ready for that to take me there. And then she started saying, oh, yeah, how are you going to get there? This, that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just paid transportation fees for yesterday. That should at least be able to take me to my post massage at the surgery center. And she's like, not really. You may want to go and do an Uber to get there. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to do an Uber when literally I'm not even going to be able to sit down in an Uber? I'm going to need the transportation service to come back out here to take me there so I can properly sit down and be suited for this post-op massage I have to get. And she's like, it's not part of the package, it's not part of it. And I got an attitude over the text message. I said, this sucks. This is so unprofessional. This is unprofessional and disorganized. And then she responded back with, well, you can just, leave. You can leave. You'll get a full refund. You can leave. And I'm like, excuse me? She's like, I said, this was all over text. She was like, you can leave, you can leave. And I think I still have some of those messages. I am going to put that in this YouTube channel, this video, so you guys can see it. I am not fabricating anything. I was so pissed off when she said that. She said, you can leave. And I'm like, but I paid. And she's like, no, I can refund you and you can leave. And I'm like, if you put me out, that doesn't even make any sense. That's against you. You can get your license suspended for that. And I'm just like, it's not even fair that I can't complain. And then she's like, well, you keep complaining, you keep doing this, you can leave. So I thought she was just kicking me out. And I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not, and that's just how it ended. It was the scariest moment of my life, guys. I'm like, first I feel scammed because I just paid you $600 for 3 nights. And I can't even get a ride to my post-op massage. Like, I was like, I'm dreaming right now. I am in a dream. I have to be dreaming. Because I don't know where you can go for $600. You pay this person $600. They, you're literally telling them, okay, I just don't want you to cook me any food. Why don't you just get me a ride to where I need to go? Like, the safety part was just not even part of the situation. I didn't even feel safe. Because I'm like, what if this bitch comes back with a gun and shoots me and says, bitch, get the hell out of my house, or stabs me to death? Like, I would be fearful. So I said, okay, you've got it, that's fine. I still couldn't go anywhere that day because I'm like, I don't think I can sit down in an Uber right now. I can't do the Uber back and forth type thing right now. I'm in pain and I'm sick. So I called the surgery center. I told them, I'm sorry, I will not be able to make it. And they actually got a little pissed off at me. They're like, why can't you make it? You have to be here. And I'm like, well, the thing was that when I spoke with the nurse and I asked her about the transportation to take me there, she didn't tell me beforehand, you need to schedule an Uber to take you out there, or you need an Uber in general. So I was like, okay, pissed off about that. And they said, yeah, don't worry, but you actually can report her license because she's not supposed to take you under her wing under false pretenses, like that, that's illegal, in Florida. And I'm like, I understand, but I was literally, guys, walking on eggshells. I was so scared because I don't know what this lady could do to me. I have to live here for the next 72 hours, not them. So I'm just like, okay, and they're like, sorry that happened to you, but try to get here, when you can, I'm like, yeah, let's schedule it for tomorrow because this is not fair for me. I'm in pain. I'm stiff. I can't move right now, and you're actually telling me to take an Uber. This is silly. So I was just like, wow, they're like, we expected you today, but we understand. And yeah, we understand. And I'm just like, thank you. So the next day, I took an Uber. I went there, came back. I was kind of moving okay. By that time, I had taken all my B12 supplements. I was feeling decent. But if I tell you I was not shocked as hell, I would be the biggest liar. Like, I was super duper shocked at the way I was treated. Like, I'm coming out of surgery, and this is the kind of treatment I'm getting, like, wow, for just even for the surgery center lady to tell me, like, hey, you need to just, report her, or, it's fine, take an Uber. And I'm like, yeah, now that I know I'm going to take an Uber and I have to sit on my ass, that hurts. I'm not going to be able to do that today. I didn't anticipate for that. I just got out of surgery barely yesterday. So what the hell? And she was just like, we understand, it's fine, So I went to my post-op the next day, got my massages done. Massages really, really hurt, guys. So keep that in mind. Massages hurt. Some people like to take a little Advil. That's fine if you choose to. I didn't, because I was just like, F it, I'm ready for it. But the reason it hurts is because they're putting pressure onto your tissue, and they're actually trying to do like a lymphatic drainage. So they're draining your lymphatic system to remove all the excess fluid from surgery out. So you're going to have those incisions on your abdominal region, and they're going to, starts from your back and then your abdomen. So that's basically why you have to do massages, because it's part of the BBL package. It helps to enhance your look. So they recommend doing at least 5 to 10. Right now, I've only done 1. All of my incisions have closed, so it's like, I don't know how my final results will be. But yeah, I was really pissed off. I didn't get the kind of treatment that I thought I was going to get. Yeah, so I was more than irritated. But keep the long story short, literally, it was a nightmare living there. I'm glad she fed me. I'm glad she gave me food. I'm glad I'm here today to make this video, but it was crazy, guys. It wasn't like something that I felt like, okay, I was going to make it this far to be sitting here right now. I thought something crazy was going to happen. I thought she was going to be like, curse me out and really kick me out. And then at that point, I would have been broke and stranded on the streets of Miami. Like, hey, I just got a BBL. Who's going to take me in? Like, or I would have had to go get a hotel. But it was annoying. But she had the washer and dryer. She had all the amenities that a patient getting out of surgery would need. So she had, the washer and dryer. She had the nutrients you needed. Tea. They always say drink a lot of tea. Drink your vitamin C water, all of that. Things to give you electrolytes. So I'm glad she had that, but that still did not compensate for the kind of anxiety she gave me. Just imagine getting out of surgery and the nurse saying, hey, your ride's still not here. You being the last person to leave the surgery center, and not even that, not even after, okay, you do finally leave the surgery center, you're still not seeing the person that's going to be your caretaker. That's still suspenseful. You have to wait 30 minutes before you do get to see the person that's doing your surgery. And then you're met with this attitude. You're met with, oh, you have to pay this now. And then just attitude after attitude. It was just the worst nightmare, literally. But I try to just talk to her. I try to see, how she can be a better business owner, because she is the one that created this post and said, she's doing recovery homes. So I tried to just talk with her, and she opened up. She said, well, she's been treated badly by previous clients of hers, and she almost lost her apartment due to a client that did something like that to her and complained to the apartment complex. She had a really, really bad BBL patient, that just gave her hell, and I think she said that the patient said she didn't feed her, and that was the allegation. And I guess the girl got so mad enough that she wanted to report that to the nurse's apartment complex. And I said, I understand that, but I'm like, girl, you put me through hell. There's days I didn't know if you were going to come home and shout at me for little things like that. So I was confused. But yeah, I talked to her. And then like another discrepancy was that I technically did not stay there for 3 days. So Tuesday was my surgery. I came on Wednesday morning because it was Wednesday at like 12:30. And she's like, no, that's technically still a night. I was supposed to be there Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then Thursday night, and then Friday night. Yes, so I was supposed to be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. So I kind of felt Tuesday night didn't count, but she was like, okay, it does count because, you were here within that time. So she was like just implementing rules and telling me, oh, no, I actually have a flight. Like I had to leave on Friday. So she was like, okay, the time you're going to leave is at 1:00 because I have a flight to catch. So I was so scared. I was like, what the hell? Okay. But my flight doesn't leave until 7:00. And she's like, sorry, checkout is at 1:00. And I'm like, what? And yeah, she's just like, you have to leave here at that time because cleaners are going to come here as well. So she was just throwing excuses at me. Guys, can you believe whenever I left, I wasn't going to argue with her. It's her home. I'm not going to tell her I need to be here. Like, what kind of loser do I look like? So after I left, I went to the pool area in the little condo place. I was relaxing and chilling there, and I saw like her car was still parked there. She never left. I think I even saw her walking back into her apartment. I was like, this bitch just wanted me to leave early. Really? So I was like, wow, literally, like she just lied so I can leave early. Like that just shows how angry she was at me. And I'm just like, girl, I want this to be over as well.
So guys, this is a couple of my before and afters. Obviously this is before. You can see the little pouch on the abdomen, and this is after. You can see how red I was there. And of course this is after.
It was a little hard trying to sit down, in the Uber. So that's why Uber and Lyft is convenient. We know that. But it's just hard to sit down, in that kind of situation. And I couldn't lie on my side because my hips are right there. So it was pretty difficult. But, I still decided to just take the flight and leave because I was like irritated. I had to use like my little airplane pillow and like sit on that so the friction won't be on there. Yeah, but I was just ready to get out. Like literally, I was angry. I was upset. I was like, this is not even the full experience that I wanted, truly. But yeah, I'm glad I made it. I made it home, and yeah, I'm just gonna kind of fast forward to how I look now today. Like I said, I got the surgery done December, and now we're in March 10th. So let me go ahead and just give you guys a little overview of my body right now. So let me put this here, move this chair out the way. All right, guys, so what we have here is my abdomen. Forget this little tattoo. As you guys can see, this is the abdomen. This is where they went in to get all the fat out. Now, after the surgery, your tissue cells are really going to be firm. They're going to be firm. They're going to, if you look at yourself in the mirror, you're going to kind of see a darkened area in those regions. That is because that's where the dead tissue lays. After surgery, of course, after surgery, of course, they remove all those dead fat cells and all of that. And then you do have some that die. It's called tissue necrosis. So that's what you can see all through my flank areas. He did my flank. He did here, which these tissues up here feel really firm. And he also did, this flank as well. And he did my back. So can't show you guys all of that, but yeah, he did some incisions. I was trying to see if you guys can see it. You probably can't, but that's fine. I'm going to upload pictures. But yeah, this is basically how it looks. Now, I used to have fat that used to be protruding out like I'm pregnant. So this is how I look from the side. Again, my tissue is still healing, guys. This is not the final format. They do say give it 6 months before you see the full format of your body. I also got some hips as well. And this is, guys, I only had one massage. I'm a bad patient. I only got one massage because I just literally, after I came back, I had so much I had to do. I think I had a big exam to take, so I couldn't even do all I wanted to do. But yes, this is just what it looks like now. So every day I do wear my compression. It's important because you do have fluids that accumulate, of course, through your daily activities. When you drink water, you don't have the fluid in there because that can be mistaken for fat. So that's why they do what's called a lymphatic drainage. It drains out all the fat from your core and ensures you get the proper look. So this is my little corset that I wear every day. I use the foam pad and I put that on. So I plan to do that for the next 3 months. So I won't stop till June. But yeah, this is just the basics of it. Of course, I still have more fluids because I didn't do my full massages. But this is the gist of it, guys. This is basically what or how I look like right now. So not too bad, but be a good patient and don't do what I did. But yeah, just to say, the surgery was phenomenal. I loved it. I love that when I put on a bikini now, I can feel confident. I don't know if you guys remember 10 years ago, in 2005 and 2006, where if you're trying to get that slim tummy look, you would suck in your fat. You would suck in your tummy or your stomach just so you can have that flat belly look. I know I don't have to do that anymore. I do not. I have all my fat cells removed and I'm good. But, literally if I'm ever doing liposuction again, I'm going to have my spouse with me because this is just my opinion. I feel like women are more prone to do the right thing when they know you have a family member, when they know you have someone that can put them in check and be like, hey, why are you doing this? Or speak up for you, especially in a man's presence. Women don't tend to F up too much when a man is around because they just kind of know this is what, oh, I need to do this. Oh, you want this? Okay. They just tend to be so nice when it comes to men. So it's yeah. And 10 out of 10 times your nurse is going to be a woman. So nursing is a woman dominated field, so it's typical you'll have a woman. Yeah, but that was something to talk about. Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what it was. It was worth it for me. It was worth it because I feel like a BBL is good if you want to make use of your fat. Fat is healthy in the right areas. Fat is just not good in desirable areas, like the places you want to look sexy at. You don't want that there. But I actually had mine transferred to my hip, and the results are pretty nice. I'm gonna upload photos. You guys will see all of that. And just be careful. Be careful if you're new to the BBL world or if you're new to the body enhancement world. I feel like for starters, I did want to go on with the BBL because I didn't want to just start off with steroids. We all know in the news, if you start off with injections and shots, that can, cause tissue necrosis and probably make you look weird, and shit like that. And I've just heard different stories of the steroids leaking into unwanted places. Like I didn't want to go through that. So I just wanted to make sure I did a healthier version of a BBL first. And then of course I will follow up like in the summertime when it's time to get bikini ready. We're already in spring, but I've been looking at places to get some shots, some steroid shots. Yeah, I'm probably going to get 200 milliliters of the shots in my buttocks region because my hips are fine. I just need a rounder behind. So, yeah, can't show you guys now because I don't want to show you guys my ass on YouTube. YouTube's probably going to take that down. But yeah, it's just important, and for anyone out there that's trying to get a BBL, these are the tips you should know. Like I said, it was worth it. I don't have a serious regret about getting a BBL. I only regret the aftermath and the person I chose to care for me, so that's why I'm putting emphasis on make sure that you have someone that you've known for at least 5-10 years, a family member that can be there with you while you're going through such a horrendous procedure. Because some people do not make it out alive after a BBL. They just don't, not everyone's pain tolerance is good. So I do want to answer, just for curious people, how long did it take for me to sit down? When I was at the airport going back home on that Friday, it was painful sitting down. I wanted to stand up, but like I said, I used I don't know if you guys have ever seen the little airport pillows, the plain pillows you use to support your neck. I was just sitting on that. And, so it's kind of something like this. This is not it, but it looks like this. And I was sitting on it, so it helps with the compression because they say don't sit on your behind because it's going to affect the surgery and the molding that the surgeon just did. With this BBL surgery, the doctor is using that little needle thing and actually shaping your behind and your hips and transferring fat. So if you just sit on it, it's going to make it all go away. So yeah, gravity is really going to persevere. So it's important to you can sit down, but don't literally sit on your ass. Have something to weigh out the gravity, like sit on your thighs, not your behind. Yeah, so that's basically what you want to do. Now literally, I would say 3-4 days after surgery, no, give it a week, 1 to 2 weeks after surgery, you are going to see fluctuations in your look. So what that means is if you saw you had a rounder behind, wider hips, bigger ass, that is going to decrease 2 times down. The reason for that is because during surgery, there's fluids added to that. There's liquid, not just fat. So whenever they extract the fat, there's fat and then a component of body fluids like your own water and minerals. So minerals, of course, don't last. You excrete that when you pee, literally. So fluids will disperse out of your body. So don't get comfortable with that look, your before and afters. That's why I showed you guys how I look like right now, but that will, decrease. So don't get shocked. They said there's a period of fluffing to where the body fluffs or something like that. I don't know if I ever saw that, but maybe it's set to come. Maybe it is, yeah. But it's a good procedure if you just patience. You have to have patience. You have to do your massages, and I think you do that, and you shouldn't have an issue. So that is my BBL journey in Miami. It was not bad. It wasn't a bad thing. I see a lot of Miami people are pretty cool and nice. I didn't have any kind of bad experience or anything like that, just afterwards. But it was worth the $4,500. You know, I don't have to worry about a big old stomach. You know, I have rounder and natural hips now. So if I do choose to get steroids, I won't need to put 500 milliliters of injections of shots into me of steroids. I would, you know, probably just do 200 or 300 in the areas. But even with steroid shots, you still have to check that every 2 to 3 years because they do decrease. So that's the thing. You have to maintain that and keep it up. So that's like another 5,000 every 3 years, but it's worth it. It really is worth it. So that is the gist of my BBL journey. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about getting a BBL. Will you ever consider it? Have you thought about getting a BBL? What was the scariest part of your BBL when you got one? And